So, I've been really interested in learning about effective ways to fight global poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've been researching some fascinating material on Papua New Guinea.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like there are 5 really clear and actionable things people can do.
Yeah.
And those all come from on-the-ground experience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so compelling about the source materials. It's not just some sort of top-down academic exercise. It's really based on what's been shown to work.
Yeah. So let's kind of dive into this first idea, improving access to education.
Sure.
And I'm seeing this emphasis on community-based schools and making programs more affordable, particularly in those really rural parts of Papua New Guinea. So what is it about education that makes it such a powerful tool in this context?
Well, it's really about investing in people's futures.
Okay.
When people have the chance to learn and develop skills, they're in a much better position to lift themselves and their families out of poverty.
Right. It's like breaking a cycle.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not just about immediate needs, it's about long-term change.
Exactly.
Okay. So another idea that jumped out at me was this whole concept of promoting small-scale agriculture. And the idea is to encourage farmers to grow cash crops like coffee or cocoa or vanilla alongside, the food crops they need for their families.
Right.
But I imagine it's not quite as simple as just saying, hey, plant more stuff.
Oh, definitely not.
So what else needs to be in place for this to really work?
The source really emphasizes the need for training. These farmers need the skills and the knowledge to cultivate these cash crops effectively. And they also need access to reliable markets where they can actually sell what they produce and earn a fair price.
So it's like a whole chain of support.
Exactly. It has to be holistic.
From planting to selling.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the third thing on the list, enhancing healthcare services.
Right.
And the focus seems to be on bringing healthcare directly to communities through mobile clinics and local health initiatives. Now, I know healthcare is crucial, but how does that directly connect to fighting poverty?
Well, think about it. When people are constantly getting sick, they can't work.
Yeah.
They might end up with huge medical bills, and that just keeps them trapped in this cycle of poverty.
Yeah.
But by bringing healthcare to them, especially in these remote villages, we're helping to break that cycle. People are healthier, they can be more productive, and they're not constantly drained by medical expenses.
Yeah, so it's like healthcare becomes an investment.
Exactly. It's an investment in their well-being and their economic future.
All right, so the fourth approach is supporting microfinance programs. And we're talking about small loans or savings groups that help people start their own businesses.
Right.
So what kind of impact can these microloans have?
Well, you'd be amazed at how even a tiny amount of money can be transformative.
Sure.
Someone might use a microloan to buy goods to sell at the market or to get the tools they need for a trade. And these little businesses, they might seem small, but they can really generate income, create jobs, and give people a sense of ownership over their lives.
So it's really about empowering people at the grassroots level.
Exactly. It's about giving them the means to create their own success.
Okay. And then the last piece of this puzzle is developing basic infrastructure.
Yeah.
I'm talking roads, bridges, water systems in those underserved communities.
Absolutely.
And that feels so fundamental to me. It's almost like the foundation for everything else.
It really is. You can't have access to education or healthcare if you can't even get to those places because the roads are impassable. And clean water. It's essential for health, for sanitation, for so many things. So investing in this basic infrastructure, it's like laying the groundwork for progress in every other area.
Right. So all these ideas, we've talked about education, agriculture, healthcare, microfinance, and infrastructure.
Yeah.
They all seem so practical and interconnected. And what I'm hearing is that progress in one area can have these ripple effects that boost progress in the others.
It's all connected. Better roads can improve access to healthcare. Increased income from farming can mean families can afford to send their kids to school. It's this incredible web of positive change.
It's like a chain reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
So it really makes you think, maybe the most powerful solutions to global poverty aren't always these big, complicated top-down programs.
Right.
Maybe it's about focusing on these really practical, community-driven approaches.
Absolutely.
And when those are done right, it seems like they can really create lasting change.
I think so.
And I think that's a really important takeaway for all of us to consider. It can feel overwhelming to think about these global challenges.
Yeah.
But when we break them down and focus on specific actions we can take, it feels a lot less daunting.
Exactly.
It makes you realize that everyone has a role to play, even if it seems small in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I think that's the key.
So I think that's a great place to leave it for today. Thanks for sharing your insights.
My pleasure.
And for all of you listening, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking yourself, what can I do to make a difference? It all starts with that question.